my mouth. They don't want no altercation. Situations gon' get critical. It's best that you be easy. The end gon' be biblical. Look, flow like a river. It's something like a miracle. Royalty in my veins, loyalty in my ways. Pay back in every breath. Plus revenge in my heart. The truth in every word. Bring light into the dark. I ain't never lukewarm. Shit, I blazing in the season. Got plenty food for thought. Just gotta watch on my feet. I've been walking with them angels. So I guess I got this pistol for no reason. Niggas barely breathing, criticizing all my achievements. Won't make me weak. Nah, it won't make me slack off. These niggas baby facts off. Better bear witness, I'm back off. I be ripping shit like sex off. Dumb dogs all barked out. Behind me say I'll come full. No room for emotion. So I pour my heart out. This road hard, but I tend to stay. And if it ain't U.P.K, then they in the way. My niggas righteous, they real, they down to something. Flow so deep, drown a motherfucker. He say he in the truth, oh yeah? Bro, this the home. And I don't hate them brothers, I'm just too loyal to my own. Plus what they believe, hard for me to follow. No rank me, no head. And I ain't leaving this spot and live and sleep in hollow. So when they ask I'm U.P.K, you tell them absolutely. And I ain't trimming my ways for nothing. Gotta execute it. Cause I can never die with my tail tucked between my legs. Shit I be thinking. Watching my daughters tucked in their bed. And Alana, she's so beautiful, but they ain't like other babies. And they dead and far from usual. And I'm missing cause I'm about my father's business. It ain't about the shit I used to do in that 98 Navy and 10 level 6. See, without wisdom, this world make you weak. I found out that the truth was bitter. The lies are sweet. Tried everything. I guess me and Yohanna had to meet. Now I make the blind see. And I make the dead speak. And teach both my little girls the day that they lie with a man. They better bring me bloody band sheets. Hey, I'll smash the time. This Glock match my headpiece. And I ain't trying to take them out, but I will defend this house. Or take a check. 144 in that black trench on some hitman shit. She call me 47. Praying for Armageddon. Me and my soldiers dressed for the wedding. Fuck the fame. Ask why tell them I'm loyal to the king. Until the righteous reign. Loyal to the king. I want this straight like to break the chain. Loyal to the king. You never say half the piece of loyal to the king. Bring that hot. Like new piece say loyal to the king. Until the righteous reign. Loyal to the king. I want this straight like to break the chain. Loyal to the king. You never say half the piece of loyal to the king. Bring that hot. Like new piece say loyal to the king. We about to bombard their whole operation. Certified priests prophesying this my occupation. This shit already, they done made the truth outside. That's why we on the corner crying aloud, looking hostile. It's U.P.K style, they stop now. Father's warfare couldn't last one round. Let the oppressed rise and let the rich fall till the sundown. Enough with this shit about to make it hot, call it compound. It's for my niggas with the guns and the drugs there. Dwelling in the beat till the Lord call for the blood. Hey, try to decide my death and got beside yourself. Swore draw for what you were for. How you gon' hide yourself? Devil got to die for his lies and his dreams. Ain't got no love for the practice. No, just fooling Jesus. And then my father's house is spinning mansions. I got plenty bitches. For the Avengers, this your death sentence. I'm talking real slaughter, yeah, slaughter, yeah, slaughter, yeah, slaughter, yeah, slaughter, yeah, slaughter. They ain't no not running. And feel the world with eyes and down for your skin. You gon' die for your crime. That's why talking to you. So hard for your life. Try to destroy my people. You gotta
All right, Shalom Israel. Yeah, about Shem Yahushai Barakatah to all the brothers. About Shem Yahushai to all the sisters. Prison Officer Matkwaya, coming dad. All right, so like here for the late start. Circumstances beyond my control. But again, the class must go on, right? Before we get into the class, right? For the new people looking in, of course, we have classes throughout the week, Sunday through Sunday, right? We have classes on Monday. We have the history class out in Trinidad, right? On Mondays, of some Kakobal again. The history class, you can come and learn the history of who you are. Black man, black woman, Hispanic woman, Native Indian man, Native Indian woman. You are part of the 12 lost tribes of the nation of Israel. You are the true Jews. You are the Hebrew Israelites. And this Bible, it belongs to you. The religious leaders, the Christian in the Christian church, Muslim mosque, and so forth, they're not telling you who you are. You understand? And this Bible shows you the records of your forefathers. You understand? The things that you need to do to come back being that righteous people, that righteous nation. Because of course, the Christian church teach that everybody is one, everybody's to come together, Christ love everybody, the Most High love everybody. That is not so. You understand? Right? Yes. Blessed. Right? Of course, that's not so. Again, we are the true Jews, the Hebrew Israelites of the Bible. Right? So we have history class at Officer Makakobal on Monday. Right? Where you can come and learn your history, so-called black man, Hispanic man, and Native Indian man. You understand? Learn the history of who you are. Learn archaeology. You understand? On Tuesdays, we have the brotherhood class with Officer Sowapiala, where you could come and learn brotherhood, true brotherhood and true sisterhood. You understand? Of course, that is in the I.S.U.P.K under commanding General Yahanna. You understand? You wouldn't find that in the Muslim mosque. You wouldn't find that in a Christian church. You wouldn't find that going to whatever school or whatever denomination you might be going in. But you will learn and understand that here in the I.S.U.P.K under commanding General Yahanna. You understand? On Wednesdays, we have the biblical law class with myself, Officer Matkwaya. You understand? Where you'll come and learn the laws of the Most High. You understand? You will understand that there are things that the Most High said for us to do and for us not to do. You understand? And we trying, or we wanting to be that obedient people. Of course, we're going to follow what the Most High gave to us. But you must understand the things that He gave to us. We follow it, the benefits of it. If you don't follow it, you will not get, you understand, what the Most High said He was going to give to you, so-called black man, Hispanic man, and Native Indian man. So, of course, when you look around today, everybody keeps asking the question, what's happening with black people? Why this happening? Why we can't live together? Why we can't come together as one? And you don't understand why. You're looking around and you see the destruction happening all over the place. You can't, your religious leaders can't give an answer when you ask them, well, what's going on? What's happening? You understand? Moses telling us, bro, or brother or sister, you know, we have to pray and whatsoever the case might be. You understand? But of course, the Most High give us laws to follow, things for us to do. For example, you understand, we have to keep His high holy days. If you look at the title of the class, you're going to understand that we as a people, black, Hispanics, and Native Indians, we have to keep the Most High holy days. You understand, the Passover is coming up on April 24th, and you, being the true Jews, the Most High give you that high holy day to keep throughout your generations. You understand? So that is one thing that we have to do, but there are many other things, right? We have the Lashawan Kodash with Officer Yakad on Friday. You understand? Where you could come and learn to speak, read, and write the Hebrew, ancient and the Paleo Hebrew, right? We have that with Officer Yakad on Friday. We have the Sabbath service on Saturday with Officer Yakad again, and of course, all these classes will be interchanged by various brothers. So you will see various faces, different faces at different times, right? And of course, we have the scripture breakdown with our camp leader, Officer Galawan, where you could come on Sunday and ask your questions, get your questions answered. You understand? Of course, you can ask questions during the week, but of course, it's going to be referred to the camp leader, Officer Galawan, and he will break it down for you on Sundays, right? Of course, don't forget, right? New addition to the Trinidad camp, we have the sign-in sheets. right? The attendance sheets where brothers could come in, brothers and sisters, right, to come in and sign in on the attendance sheets. If you look on YouTube right now and on Facebook, we have the link for the attendance sheet in both English and, of course, in Spanish. I wonder if I have it right here for you. The Spanish link, right? Yeah. Right, we have the sign-in sheets in both English and Spanish, right? Because of course, all right, I know it here. So left here. I'll move this one. Right. Nice. All right. Right. Nice. Right. So we have the sign-in sheets where brothers and sisters to come in and sign in. Of course, you're signing. I think it's over. How long it is, boy? I will try to remember. I can't remember if it's. I think it's 90 days, 3 months. We'll be able to get a Hebrew name. You understand? So you will not be having the Hebrew name that you once had in the world. They won't be having the slave name that you once had in the world. Of course, you'll be getting a new name. The scriptures say, any man coming in Christ, just paraphrasing scripture, you'll become a new creature. All things are forgotten. All things are passed away. You understand? You'll be given a new name and you'll be called by that name. You understand? Right? So don't forget to sign in sign-in sheets. When the class going to close, there'll be a sign-in sheet also. So you're signing in when the class begin, right? Every day, these links will be popping out on all the classes throughout the week. And I remember on Thursday, right? But we're still doing some work on that on Thursday. There is the streaming from headquarters, you understand? But we're doing some work on that, so we are having some technical difficulties with that, but that will be sorted out soon. So on Thursday, we're going to be having that. So when you're coming to the classes every day of the week, you sign in, and before the class finish, you sign out. You understand? Benefits of that is, of course, getting a Hebrew name. You understand? Right? So with that, we will start the class. Of course, with everything that's happening in the world right now, Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, we need to know what the Most High require for us to do. You understand? Of course, there are things for us to do. And by sticking up in the Christian church, the religious leaders, they're not going to tell you what the Most High requires of you, so-called black man, Hispanic man, and Native Indian man. You understand? With all the killings in all the different countries, all the murderings, you understand? Brothers and sisters going to jail. You understand? Of course, the volcano in St. Vincent, you understand? That brothers and sisters have to flee from one place to the next. Venezuelans coming in from Venezuela into Trinidad, and of course other countries, other neighboring countries. All these things happening, you understand? And the religious leaders, of course, they don't have the answers for you so-called Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. You understand? Officer Shah, if you could, give me the book of Zephaniah, chapter 2, verse 1, Babakasha. Right? Because this is what our people need to know as Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. Where when you have it, Babakasha.
Zephaniah chapter 2 and verse 1. Gather yourselves together.
The Most High is requiring from you, so-called Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. You understand? And I think that this is something that we all should know and try to remember and keep and share it even with your brothers and sisters, that the Most High required from us to do what? Gather ourselves together. This is what we're supposed to do as a people. You understand? Not fight our way into integration into these other nations. You understand? Into the things that they do, into their culture, into their way of life, the things they eat, the things they worship. You understand? We're not supposed to be doing that. We're supposed to do what? Gather ourselves together. And we gathering ourselves together as you so-called black man, Hispanic man, and Native Indian man. You are to gather yourself together. Go ahead, Officer Shah.
Ye, gather together, O nation not desired.
Gather what?
Gather together, O nation not desired.
We are to gather together. Why? Because you are the nation that is not desired. Gather together, O nation not desired. So-called black man, Hispanic man, and Native Indian man, you are not, say it again.
Gather yourselves together. Ye, gather together, O nation not desired.
You are not desired by these other nations. These other nations have no interest or what should we? No way or no train of thought to think to put you on top or above them. You understand? Then you are not desired by these nations. Let's take a time and rock back and look how the world treats so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. You understand? We get murdered in the streets by the thousands, by the hundreds. It's all kind of things these other nations doing us, have their foot on our necks. You understand? When you go into these institutions to get hired, use the last hired, first fired. You understand? When certain things happen in this country here in Trinidad, you've seen how the other nation, the East Indians, you understand, the Syrians, the Chinese, you've seen how they react to it. You see their true way, how they think about you so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. You understand? The Venezuelan coming in from the other country, Venezuela, seeking refuge here in Trinidad, and the East Indians have a whole ton of garbage to speak about them. You are not desired, so-called black man, Hispanic man, and Native Indian man. You are not desired. You understand? As soon as a black man do something here in Trinidad because of oppression by the East Indians and the Syrians here, guess what they say? They have a word to say about you so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. You understand? They have nothing good. They're not talking about why black people under this oppression. You understand? Why will you look for a better way to treat them? They're not talking about that. They're looking at all the evils that you do and not knowing that it's because of them oppressing you, so-called black man, Hispanic man, and Native Indian man. You understand? You are not desired by these nations. Go ahead, Officer Shah.
Verse 2.
Yeah, go ahead.
Verse 2. Before the decree bring forth.
Before what?
Before the decree bring forth.
Before the decree bring forth.
Before the day pass of as the shaft.
Go ahead.
Before the fierce anger of the Most High come upon you.
You understand? Before the day pass off like a shaft, and before the fierce anger of the Lord come upon you. Contrary to what the Christian church said, Most High is all about hugs and kisses. You understand? The Most High loves everybody. God so loved the world. You understand? And these Christian leaders leading our people astray, and our people thinking that, you know, the Most High is all soft, smushy, and sweet, when that is not so-called black man, Hispanic man, and Native Indian man. You understand? And you're going to know that. You're going to understand that here tonight. The Most High is not about for God so loved the world and bringing in all the nations together. You understand? Say, before the fierce anger of the Lord come upon you. You understand? Before the fierce anger, not before the love of the Most High or the love of the Lord come upon you. Before the fierce anger of the Lord come upon you. Is there not too? Go ahead.
Before the day of the Most High anger come upon you.
Right. Before the day of the Most High anger, not love, but anger come upon you. You understand? This is what our people need to know. The God that you serve in the Christian church is not the God of this Bible. It's not the God that your forefathers served. You understand? God in the Christian church, that is a completely and total different God. But when you go into the records that your forefathers left for you, so-called black man, Hispanic man, and Native Indian man, you're going to understand your God. You're going to understand your power. You're going to understand that your power will fight for you. When all these other nations have their foot upon your necks and oppressing you, your power is going to fight for you. And they're going to feel the wrath of the Most High. You understand? They're going to feel the fierce anger of the Most High. You understand? By having the Most High's chosen people, which is you, so-called black man in Silots, John, you understand? Chumaka, Broadway, and you name it. You understand? Second Caledonia, Marval, and all these different places. You are the Most High chosen. You understand? And the Most High is going to do what? Bring his fierce anger on these other nations. When they have his people in captivity, when they have his people under bondage. And this is what you need to know, so-called black man, Hispanic man, and Native Indian man. Give me the book of Micah chapter 2 and verse 10, Baba Kusha. These are the things that you will not learn in the Christian church. And of course, the other nations is not going to teach you this because they want you to integrate with them. Once you integrate with them, you're going to start following their ways of life. You're going to start following their customs, the things that they do. You understand? The way they dress. Again, as I said before, the things they eat, you're going to start following these things. You understand? And when you start following these things, you will stay, you putting yourself far away from the Most High. far away from your power, and you align yourself closer with their gods. You understand? When your power tell you that their gods are nothing, their gods are just idols. You understand? Go ahead, Officer Shah.
Micah chapter 2 and verse 10. Arise you and depart.
So-called black man, Hispanic man, Native Indian man, the Most High is saying, arise. Arise from in the place that they're in, the mindset, the mind state. You understand? Arise. Come out from between these other nations. Come out from the things they do. Go ahead.
For this is not your rest.
For this is not your rest. This place that we're in here in Trinidad, this is not your rest. This is not your home. You understand? We were brought across here on slave ships by the hands of these other nations. You understand? This place, this is not your rest, so-called black man, Hispanic man, and Native Indian man. This is not a place where you're supposed to be rock back and, you know what I mean? You're comfortable. You want to build an empire here and live good here. You understand? This is not your rest, so-called black man. This is not your home. Go ahead.
Because it is polluted.
Because what?
Because it is polluted.
Because the Most High is letting you know that this place is polluted. This place is evil. This place have all manner of things that the Most High does not want for you, so-called black man, Hispanic man, and Native Indian man, to be following, to be doing, to be running after, to be eating, to be partaking in. You understand? This place is polluted. Go ahead.
It shall destroy you.
You're going up to the end of 10, right? Baba Kusha. Right? The Most High is letting you know that this place is going to do what? It's going to destroy you, so-called black man, Hispanic man, and Native Indian man. You understand? You continue following the ways of these other nations in Trinidad, it is going to destroy you. Not might destroy you, or maybe. Or you might still have a chance. You know what I mean? You could dabble worshiping the gods of the other nations. You could take a chance and eat shrimp and lobster. You know, it might destroy you. The Most High say it is going to destroy you, so-called black man, Hispanic man, and Native Indian man. And you have to do what? Arise from that. Move away from that. By you understanding this place is not your rest. This place is not the place that you're supposed to settle in and be happy. You understand? Is you know that? Go ahead.
Even with a sore destruction.
Even with a what?
Sore destruction.
Even with a sore destruction. You understand? Because when you go into the records and you look back at your forefathers, how they left the land of Egypt, you look back at the things that happened in the land of Egypt, that was a sore destruction. You understand? You look at what happened in the land of Sodom and Gomorrah, that was a sore destruction. You understand? This is the things that we have to understand, so-called black man, Hispanic man, and Native Indian man. These is the things that we have to know. You understand? And not studying to run down bunnies laying eggs and the Christmas tree and celebrating New Year's with fireworks and all this craziness. This is what you have to know, so-called black man, Hispanic man, and Native Indian man. That is the another officer. You understand? And again, the Christian church will not teach you these things. They will have you clutching your Bible, and you go into church, all hunky-dory, thinking that you serving God, thinking that you serving the Most High, when they're definitely not. Because they're not showing you that you're supposed to gather yourself together. You understand? When they're not showing you that this is not your rest. When they're not showing you that the Most High laws, commandments, and statutes is for you to keep, so-called black man, Hispanic man, and Native Indian man. You understand? And they're not even showing you who you are. As I said before in the beginning, you are the true Jews. You are the Jews of this Bible. When you read this Bible, you will see all these other nations in there. The East Indians, the Chinese, the Syrians, the so-called white man. You understand? All these nations in there called by different biblical names. You understand? Edom, so-called white man. Elam, the East Indians. You understand? The Arabs. You will see all these nations inside there. Who are the Israelites? You understand? And when you read these records, you will start understanding that these other nations are the hand in your demise, so-called black man, Hispanic man, and Native Indian man. This is what you have to understand. You understand? Give me the book of Baruch, chapter 1, Baruch chapter 4, Salakia. We go start, give me verse 1 and 2. You understand? And then when you see what these other nations have done to you, When you sit back and you watching what's going on now, look at what happening to brothers and sisters in foreign and America getting gunned down by the minute. You understand? When you go up the Caribbean islands and you watching what happening in Belize, in St. Vincent and Barbados. You understand? You seen brothers getting police brutality not only in America but going up the Caribbean chain, even here in Trinidad and Tobago. You understand? And you know what? On top of it, black people, we don't have a voice. Because the most we could do is go up on social media and vent with anger. You understand? You might go out on the street and protest 1 or 2 days and that is it. And the killing is still going to take place. It's still going to continue. The Most High letting you know this is not your rest. Gather yourself together. It's about time. When you watch on and you see the destruction that's happening all over the world, it's about time you so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians gather yourself together. You understand? Because again, you are that nation that is not desired. Go ahead when you have it up, Sasha.
Baruch chapter 4 and 1.
Yeah, Baruch chapter 4 and verse 1. You give me 1 and 2, Baba Kusha.
Baruch chapter 4 and verse 1.
You understand? And Baruch, again, is a part of the Apocrypha. You so-called black man, Hispanic man, Native Indian man, the Apocrypha is part of the King James Bible. You understand? Again, Roman Catholic Church remove it. The your Christian leaders know that, and they have you going to church with part of our Bible. Not giving you the whole history or the true story that you're supposed to know. You're not or the true records that you're supposed to know of your forefathers, the things that they left for you to follow. You understand? Paraphrasing scripture, the scripture letting know that the things that are written aforetime is written for our learning, so-called black man, Hispanic man, and Native Indian man. It's written for us to learn, for us to learn from the mistakes that our forefathers did. You understand? The uprightness and integrity that they held and how they was not confounded by you understand? They held that integrity and see the reward and the Most High. The Most High never left them. You understand? This is for us to learn. Go ahead up, Sasha.
Baruch chapter 4 and verse 1. This is the book of the commandments of the Most High.
Well,
and the Lord that endureth forever. All they that keep it shall come to life, but such as leave it shall.
Baba Kusha, if you could, Salaki on that, but read it from the top again.
Baruch chapter 4 and verse 1. This is the book of the commandments of the Most High.
Right, this is the book of the commandments of the Most High. In this Bible, they have commandments, they have laws, they have statutes. This is the book that you're supposed to be following, so-called black man, Hispanic man, and Native Indian man. Go ahead.
And the Lord that endureth forever.
And the Lord that endureth what?
Forever.
The Lord that endureth forever. The laws of the Most High, this is going to endure forever. You understand? Go ahead.
All they that keep it shall come to life.
You so-called black man, Hispanic man, and Native Indian man, all those that keep it, you're going to come to life. You understand? You're going to come to understand the things that the Most High wants you to do. You're going to wake up from the sleep that we're in. You're going to wake up and stop following the ways of these other nations. You're going to come to life. Go ahead.
But such as leave it shall die.
And those that leave it, those that reject it, you understand? They're going to do what? They're going to die. They're going to die in this place, following the ways of these other nations. You understand? Go ahead.
Verse 2. Turn thee, O Jacob.
Turn thee, O who?
O Jacob.
O blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. Turn thee, go ahead.
And take hold of it.
And take hold of it. The Most High is telling you to take hold of it. You understand? Start trying your best to understand the laws that the Most High wants you to do, to keep. The things that He wants you to teach throughout your generations. Teach your children. And their children teach their children. Go ahead.
Walk in the presence of the light thereof, that thou mayest be illuminated.
You understand? Walk in the presence of the light. What light does do? Shine. Shine its way so they can chart a course. You will know what to do, what not to do, where to go, where not to go, what to say, what not to say. You understand? Go ahead. You drop down to verse 6, Baba Kusha.
Verse 6. Luke chapter 4 and verse 6. You were sold to the nations, not for your destruction.
You understand? And you so-called black man, you have to hold on to these laws, commandments, and statutes. But of course, we didn't do that as a people. You understand? We didn't do that as a people. And guess what? We sinned against the Most High. We were sold to these other nations. When you go into the book of Deuteronomy chapter 28 verse 68, you're going to see where we were sold to these other nations. Bondmen and bondwomen, slave men and slave women. You were sold to these other nations. Go ahead.
But because you were moved to the Most High to wrath.
Yes, now hold on, I'm gonna make sure and catch it today. Book chapter 4 and verse 6. Yeah, take it from the top on 6 again, Baba Kosha.
Baruch chapter 4 and verse 6. You were sold to the nations.
Right, so you so-called black man, Hispanic man, Native Indian man, you were sold to these other nations. As I was saying before, when you go to the book of Deuteronomy chapter 28 verse 68, you're going to see where we were sold. You understand? For bondmen and bondwomen, slave men and slave women. Go ahead.
Not for your destruction.
And it was not sold for our destruction. It wasn't sold because the Most High wanted to destroy us as a people, to destroy us as a nation. You understand? Because of course, you might be saying, you so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, we were once a nation, a thriving nation, a prosperous nation. But we sinned against the Most High. We were sold unto the nations for slave men and slave women. Go ahead.
But because you moved the Most High to wrath.
You understand? And it was not sold for our destruction, but because we moved the Most High to wrath. Because we didn't do what he wanted us to do. You understand? You didn't do what he laid out for us to follow after. We didn't keep the Most High laws, commandments, and statutes, right? Go ahead.
You were delivered unto the enemies.
And you were delivered where?
Unto the enemies.
Unto what?
Unto the enemies.
And you were delivered to your enemies, so-called black man, Hispanic man, and Native Indian man. These other nations, they are your enemies. You understand? I don't mean you have to pick up arms and go start warring them now. But you have to come back to the Most High laws, commandments, and statutes. You understand? Keep his ways. And he going to come and destroy these other nations first. You understand? Go ahead. Go ahead to 7.
Verse 7. For you provoked him that made you by sacrificing unto devils.
You understand? You provoke the Most High that made you. You provoke the Most High that made you sacrificing unto devils. You understand? Start worshiping other gods. Go ahead.
And not to the Most High.
And not to the Most High. Start worshiping the gods of the East Indians and the Arabs, the Africans, Shouta Baptists and Congo drums and Orisha. You understand? And Bingiais and Rastafaris and Selassiais. Start worshiping other gods. You understand? And not to the Most High. You didn't want to keep the Most High Passover and Feast of Unleavened Bread. You understand? And keep the Sabbath day, Feast of Tabernacles, and the Day of Atonement. They didn't want to keep that. Native Indians do. They wanted to beat drums and dance in church and play tambourine. Go ahead.
That's it.
Yeah, we'll say Baba Kusha.
You have forgotten the everlasting power that brought you up, and you grieve in Jerusalem that nursed it.
Understand? And we forget the Most High. Forget the Most High. And we grieve the Most High. We grieve Jerusalem that nurtured us. You understand? But that is our homeland. So when we read back in the book of Micah, this is not your rest. Our rest is not here in Trinidad. Our rest is in Jerusalem. You understand? In the book of Leviticus chapter 20 and verse 26. Baba Kusha. Our people need to understand, first of all, who we are. We need to understand that we have laws to keep. We need to understand that these other nations is not for you. Go ahead when you have it, Officer Shah. We need to get ourselves together. Go ahead.
Leviticus chapter 20 and verse 26. And you shall be holy unto me.
Should be what?
Holy unto me.
You should be holy unto the Most High. And holy means separate. You understand? Not integration. Separate unto the Most High. Go ahead.
For the Most High, I'm holy.
For the what?
For the Most High am holy.
For the Most High is holy. Go ahead.
And have severed you from other people.
And have done what?
Severed you from other people.
And the Most High have severed you, separated you from all the other people, all the other nations. Separated you and made you holy. Go ahead.
That you should be mine.
That you should be what?
That you should be mine.
That you should be his portion. So out of all these other nations, the East Indians, the Chinese, the Syrians, the Arabs, the Africans, the Most High separated you that you should be his and gave you laws to follow. You understand? And what we're going to do, so-called black man, Hispanic man, and Native Indian man, we're going to go and show you how the Most High does fight for his, what is his, when these other nations have them under oppression. When these other nations have them under sore bondage. You're going to see what the Most High does for his people. The Most High separated you from all the other nations and made you his. Give me the book of Deuteronomy chapter 4, Baba Kusha, and verse 6.
Deuteronomy chapter 4 and verse 6. Keep therefore and do them.
Keep what?
Keep therefore and do them.
Keep the Most High laws, commandments, and statutes, and do them. This is what we're supposed to do. Just like April the 24th in the I.S.U.P.K, we're going to keep the Most High, the Lord's Passover. Keep therefore and do them. Go ahead.
For this is your wisdom.
For this is what?
For this is your wisdom and your understanding.
Go ahead.
In the sight of the nations.
So this will be your wisdom and understanding in the sight of the other nations. Go ahead. That is in 6. Go ahead.
Which shall hear all these statutes and say, surely this great nation is a wise and understanding people.
You understand? Are they going to hear all the laws, commandments, and statutes that the Most High laid out for us? They're going to hear it and say, nah, you see these people here? This is a wise and understanding people. So we're not eating pork, crab, shrimp, and lobster, falling sick and running up in the hospitals. You understand? We're living good with your brother, with sister. We're not committing adultery. You understand? There's no killings in the community or in the nation. You understand what I'm saying here? Everybody, they're righteous judgments. They're going to say, surely, see these people, they are wise and understanding people. You understand? Give me the book of Exodus chapter 1 and verse 6, Baba Kusha. We're going to touch a bit on the Exodus, leading into the Passover and the Feast of Unleavened Bread. You understand? You blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians outside might not understand much about the Lord's Passover. I'm going to show you about the Lord's Passover, also to the Feast of Unleavened Bread. Again, it's 2 parts, so you catch this week. Next week, we're going to the Feast of Unleavened Bread. You understand? But you're going to understand why it is important to keep the Lord's Passover. You understand? Go ahead. When you have a Baba Kusha. Exodus chapter 1 and verse 6.
Exodus chapter 1 and verse 6. And Joseph died, and all his brethren, and all that generation with them.
Right. So we're stepping back a little bit just to pick up where brothers and sisters can catch the story before we really go into the plagues that the Most High put on Egypt for his people. You understand? Go ahead. Yeah, can you read the Baba Kusha?
Exodus chapter 1 and verse 6. And Joseph died, and all his brethren, and all that generation.
Right. And Joseph, of course, was one of our brothers, right? A part of the 12 lost tribes of the nation of Israel. You understand? He died because he was a ruler in Egypt, second in command to Pharaoh. But at this time, he had died. You understand? Go ahead.
Verse 7.
And all that generation, meaning the people around his time, had died. All that generation, right? Go ahead.
And verse 7. And the children of Israel were fruitful and increased abundantly.
You understand?
And multiplied.
And we was fruitful and we increased abundantly and multiplied. So like here, right? Of course, we was in Egypt at this time because of famine, because I think there was a famine in the land. You understand? And we had to move across to Egypt, right? We end up getting our own land in Goshen, just paraphrasing, so you get that back to quick on the story, right? Go ahead.
And waxed exceedingly mighty.
So we started to multiply, we increased. Joseph had died, right? We started growing in the land of Egypt, waxed exceedingly mightily, and filled with them, right? Go ahead.
and the land was filled with them.
Mm-hmm.
Now there arose up a new king of Egypt.
You understand? And of course, Joseph being second in command in Egypt, right? Under the hand of Pharaoh. So Pharaoh was first, Joseph was second, but Pharaoh gave Joseph command. It's like he could run Egypt. Anything he want to do, he doing it. You understand? People had to listen to him. Go ahead. So now there arose a new king in Egypt. After Pharaoh's generation died, Joseph died. There arose a new king in Egypt. Go ahead.
And verse 9. And he said unto his people, Behold, the people of the children of Israel are more and mightier than we.
Right, so there arose a new king over Egypt who knew not Joseph. You understand? He had no idea who Joseph was. He didn't know about Joseph. He didn't know the position that Joseph put his people. You understand? And he's saying that, and he said unto his people, Behold, the people of the children of Israel are more and mightier than we. So he started to realize that the people of Israel, the Hebrews, the true Jews, they start becoming more mightier. You understand? Than the people that dwell there in Egypt. Right? Go ahead.
Verse 10. Come on.
What?
Come on. Let us deal wisely with them.
Right? So he said, come on. Let me start dealing wisely with them. Go ahead.
Lest they multiply, and it come to pass that when they fall out any war.
You understand? So he said, let me deal wisely with them. Because they're going to multiply. And if any war break out with other nations close by, surrounding nations, go ahead.
They join also unto our enemies.
They join where?
Also unto our enemies.
They're going to join with our enemies. Go ahead.
And fight against us. And say, get them up out of the land.
You understand? So they're going to join with these other nations and fight against the Egyptians. So he said, you know what? Get them out of this land. Go ahead.
Verse 11. Therefore they did set over them taskmasters to afflict them.
So they set over the children of Israel taskmasters to afflict them. Go ahead.
With their burdens.
With what?
With their burdens.
To afflict them with their burdens. Go ahead.
And they built for Pharaoh treasures, cities, Pithom, and Ramses.
You understand? So they set taskmasters over the children of Israel and started to afflict them with their burdens. They built treasure cities for Ramses. The children of Israel, they work in Egypt. You understand? They work under affliction. Go ahead.
Verse 12. But the children of Israel.
Go ahead.
Verse 13. And the Egyptian made the children of Israel to serve with rigor.
And the Egyptians made the children of Israel to serve with rigor. Right? Let me look up the word rigor. Right, rigor, harsh, inflexibility in opinion, temper, or judgment. The quality of being unyielding or inflexible. Severity of life, an act or instant of strictness, severity, or cruelty. And these are the things that we started to suffer Egyptians. Cruelty, harshness. You understand? No proper judgment. We started to do what? Serve with rigor. Go ahead.
Verse 14. And they made their lives bitter with hard bondage.
And they made our lives bitter with hard bondage. This is what the Egyptians did to us. You understand? Go ahead.
In mortar and in brick.
In mortar and in bricks.
And in all manner of service in the field.
You understand? And if you look back today, even when you look back at the construction industry, for example, you see what has happened to so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. You understand? Because we live there for ourselves. We live and work in these places under hard bondage, under affliction. And when you stay now and you acting for a break or now, well, they can't be doing this. You know what to do? They send outside for your brothers, the Mexicans. You understand? And bring them in, and they under the same bondage as you. Nothing changed. You understand? They ain't sending outside for the East Indians. and the Syrians and the Chinese sending for your people. You understand? And putting them under the same bondage. Go ahead.
All their service were in, they made them serve was with rigor.
You understand? And all the services, whether it be mason, carpenter, you understand? Whatever service he was doing in Egypt, you had to serve it with rigor. You understand? Go ahead.
Verse 15. And the king of Egypt spake to the Hebrews midwives.
And the king of Egypt spoke unto the Hebrew midwives. Go ahead.
Of which the name of one was Shipharah, and the name of the other was Purah.
All right.
Verse 16. And he said, when you do the office of a midwife to the Hebrew woman and seat them upon the stool, if it be a son, then you shall kill him.
Right. So the king of Egypt spake to the Hebrew midwives. Doing the service of our midwife. If it be a son, kill him. You understand? Go ahead.
But if it be a daughter, then she shall live.
If it be a woman, then she shall live. And if you look at how these other nations treat us right now, they try their best to kill all the spirits of the men. You understand? And they put the women on top of a high pedestal. You understand what I'm saying? Because the once they have all the women in control, your nation can't go to war. Your nation can't do nothing. Because all the men behind your nation are weak. Because they're starting to dance in church. You understand? Beat drums, shake shack. You understand? Sing gospel music and all these things. The men in your nation are weak. So you can't go to war. You can't do nothing. You understand? So kill all the male, but keep all the women. Go ahead.
Verse 17. But the midwives feared the Most High.
But the midwives of the Hebrews, they feared the Most High. You understand? Go ahead.
And did not as the king of Egypt commanded.
Did not what the king of Egypt had commanded them. You understand? It's like just like when if some women they be having abortions, you come into the knowledge of this truth and knowing that me ain't supposed to do no abortion. You understand? Because why? You fear the Most High. And the king of this world, so-called white man, you wouldn't listen to what he doing. Or what he say, that he could come and take our abortion. You wouldn't do that. Why? Because you fear the Most High. Go ahead.
But saved the men children alive.
But the midwives of the Hebrews, they saved the men children alive. You understand? Go ahead.
Verse 18. And the king of Egypt called for the midwives and said unto them, why have you done this thing?
Go ahead.
And have saved the men children alive. Verse 19. And the midwife said unto Pharaoh, because the Hebrew women are not as the Egyptian women.
Because what?
Because the Hebrew women are not as the Egyptian women.
You understand? And they say the Hebrew women, they're not like the Egyptian woman. You understand? They know that there was a difference between them and the Egyptians. And that is what you supposed to know, so-called black man, Hispanic man, Native Indian man. You and the Africans are two different nations, are two different people. You understand? The Most High say he did what? Severed you, separated you from the other nations to be his people, to be his portion. You understand? Give me Exodus 5 and verse 1, Baba Kusha.
Exodus chapter 5 and verse 1. And afterward, Moses and Aaron went in and told Pharaoh.
Right, so we fast forwarding. So Moses come on the scene now. Moses he grew up, coming in Egypt. You understand? Well, at this time he returned into Egypt. Go ahead.
Thus say the Most High power of Israel, let my people go.
Right, and remember the children of Israel, it was in Egypt serving under hard bondage, under the hands of the Egyptians. You understand? And Moses telling Pharaoh, let his people go. Why? So they could go and keep a feast unto the Most High. So he's saying, let my people go. When?
That they may go that they may hold a feast unto me in the wilderness.
Right.
Verse 2. And Pharaoh said, who is the Most High that I should obey his voice to let Israel go?
You understand? And Pharaoh said, then who is God? Who is the Most High that I should what? Let Israel go. You understand? Remember the Israelites building treasured cities in Ramses for Pharaoh and Ramses. They building treasured cities in Israel. You understand? So he's saying, who is God that I should let them go? Go ahead.
I know not the Most High, neither will I let Israel go.
You understand? I don't know your God. I don't know the Most High. You understand? And I not letting your people go. Go ahead.
Verse 3. And they said, the Most High of the Hebrew had met with us. And they said, the God of the Hebrews had met with us. Go, we pray thee, 3 days' journey into the desert.
You understand? So they're asking the king of Egypt, let us go 3 days' journey. You understand? Into the desert. Go ahead.
And sacrifice unto the Most High our power. Lest he fall upon us with pestilence or with the sword.
You understand? Because of course they know the anger of the Most High. So you say, man, let me go, serve with power, 3 days journey in the wilderness. You understand? Let me go and sacrifice to with power, lest pestilence or the sword fall upon us. Go ahead.
Verse 4. And the king of Egypt said unto them, wherefore do you, Moses and Aaron, let the people from their work get you unto your burdens?
You understand? And saying, Dan, what are you doing? Why are you making the people and them stop the work? You understand? Get you onto your burdens. You know, we say get you onto your burdens, go back to work. Jump to verse 5, Baba Kushar.
Verse 5. And Pharaoh said, behold, the people of the land now are many, and you make them rest from their burdens.
And Pharaoh started to say, watch, the Israelites, they becoming many. And when all they're trying to make them rest from the burdens, go ahead.
And Pharaoh, and verse 6, and Pharaoh commanded the same day the taskmasters of the people and their officers, saying, verse 7, you shall no more give the people straw to make bricks, as heretofore. Let them go and gather straw for themselves.
Understand? So Pharaoh saying, watch, them are too much time on the hand. You understand? Let them go and collect their own straw. Go ahead.
Verse 8. And the tail of the bricks which they did make, heretofore you shall lay upon them. You shall not diminish aught thereof, for they be idle. Therefore they cry, saying, let us go and sacrifice to our power.
You understand? So now, the same amount of work that they was doing when they had bricks, same amount that to do even when they're going and get the straw. You understand? Because the Pharaoh saying, nah, them idle. They more time to go and serve the God. You understand? Go ahead.
Verse 9. Let there more work be laid upon the men.
So you say, let more work be laid upon the men. Go ahead.
That they may labor therein, and let them not regard vain words. Verse 10. And the taskmasters of the people went out, and their officers, and they spake to the people, saying, thus saith Pharaoh, I will not give you straw.
You understand? So the taskmasters turn to go back out, tell the people, taskmasters and the officers, Pharaoh say, you won't get all the straw. You understand? Go ahead.
Verse 11. Go you, get you straw where you can find it. Yet not aught of your work shall be diminished.
You understand? So he's saying, go, find all the straw wherever you find it. You understand? And not all of your work shall be diminished. You understand? Wherever you used to produce when you was getting straw, you have to produce the same thing. You understand? Like if you had it. So you're going out and look for your own straw, you have to produce the same amount of brick. That is the hard burdens that we was put on that. You understand? Go ahead.
Verse 12. So the people were scattered abroad throughout all the land of Egypt.
All the land of Egypt, people scatter. Go ahead.
To gather stubbles instead of straw.
Right.
Verse 13. And the taskmaster hasted them, saying, fulfill your work, your daily task, as when there was straw.
Fulfill your work. Taskmasters, they're hustling them. All you hurry up. You understand? Do all your work like if when all you had straw. They didn't have no mercy. You will see something here, even with the taskmasters. Go ahead.
Verse 14, and the officers of the children of Israel, which Pharaoh taskmaster had set over them.
Right? And the officers of the children of Israel. The officers of who? The children of Israel. And which Pharaoh's taskmasters had set over them. Meaning what? Children of Israel. The Pharaoh set taskmasters of their own people over them to afflict them with their own burdens. And even if you look at the local construction today, that is exactly what is happening. These other nations, they set your people over you. So when they start, when the other nations start increasing your burdens, your taskmasters, they have to come and tell you. And you know who you're looking at? You're looking at your own brother. You understand? And thinking is your own brother afflicting you or putting more burdens on you. And these other nations, they save. These are the things that they do or they try on so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians to hide themselves. You understand? And when these other nations produce themselves in a certain way, guess what happened? We're ready to love them. You understand? And looking at our own evil. Go ahead.
Wherefore have you not fulfilled your task in making bricks? No, it's like that.
Yeah, no problem.
Exodus chapter 5 and verse 14. And the officers of the children of Israel, which Pharaoh taskmaster had set over them, were beaten and demanded.
They were what?
Were beaten and demanded.
You understand? They were beaten and demanded. So they were beaten and demanded to bring forth all the tasks that the amount of brick all was accustomed bringing. You understand? Today we're not beaten, but guess what? We're given long hours with less money. You understand? And the time they want to give you your money, after 8 hours, time and a half. You understand? Then they want to get double. And then they're not putting double on the weekdays, they're putting double on the weekend and triple on Sundays. You understand? So guess what? Your burdens increase. You have to come out every day to try and make that money. Try and make that dollar. Go ahead.
Wherefore have you not fulfilled your task in making bricks, both yesterday and today?
Right.
As here do for. Verse 15. Then the officers of the children of Israel came and cried unto Pharaoh, saying, Wherefore dealest thou thus with thy servants?
You understand? And the officers of the children of Israel, they cry unto Pharaoh. They started coming to Pharaoh and saying, Nah, Pharaoh, they can't deal with them so. You understand? Go ahead.
Verse 16. There is no straw given unto thy servants.
They have no straw given to them.
And they say to us, Make bricks, and behold, thy servants are beaten. But the fault is in thy own people.
You understand? There's no straw given to them. You understand? And they're telling them make brick, and we telling them make brick. You understand? But they ain't realizing the fault is in your people, your own people. The fault is not them own. The fault is yours. Go ahead.
Verse 17. But he said, You are idle.
You are what?
You are idle. You are idle.
You're still saying you are idle, than all the idle. Go ahead.
Therefore you say, Let us go and do sacrifice to the Most High.
You understand? So you ask Pharaoh for the time off. Pharaoh say, Nah, you idle. You want time to go and sacrifice to your God. You understand? Just like you're on construction, you're telling the boss, you say, Hey, you what going on now? Well, my wife now make baby, you know. You know, we're telling you, well, go and take a few hours now when they don't come back. You have no time. Because he's saying you're going to be idle. You know, they take a little week off or 3 days off. This man just had a baby. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah? It's not that. See, you're idle. Or they want to go and sacrifice to all the God, or they're idle. Go ahead.
Let us go and do sacrifice to the Most High. Verse 18. Go therefore now and work, for there shall no straw be given you, yet shall you deliver the tails of the brick.
Understand? So if you still say, well, go back and work, no straw will be given, and all you still have to produce the amount of bricks. Right?
Verse 19, and the officers of the children of Israel did see that they were in evil case.
You understand? The officers of the children of Israel did see that they were in evil case. Go ahead.
After it was said, you shall not diminish oath from your grip of your daily task.
You understand? Meaning, still continue bringing what you need to bring. The taskmasters, the people that were set over the children of Israel, start to realize now, like Pharaoh losing it. Give me Exodus 7 verse 1. You understand? They start to realize now, Pharaoh had gone.
Exodus chapter 7 verse 1. And the Lord spake, and the Lord said unto Moses, see, I have made thee a god to Pharaoh, and Aaron, thy brother, shall be thy prophet.
Right.
Verse 2. Thou shalt speak all that I command thee, and Aaron thy brother shall speak unto Pharaoh, that he sent the children of Israel out of his land.
You understand? So thou shalt speak all that I command thee, and Aaron thy brother shall speak Pharaoh, and he shall send the children of Israel out of the land. So Pharaoh now is to send the children of Israel out of the land by the things that Moses and Aaron is going to speak unto him, right? Go ahead. They're stopping up the verse 7, Baba Kusha.
Verse 3. And I will harden Pharaoh's heart.
And I will do what?
And I will harden Pharaoh's heart.
And the Most High says he's going to do what? Harden Pharaoh's heart. And you're going to understand why the Most High hardened Pharaoh's heart as we're going up more inside the class tonight. Right? Go ahead.
And multiply my signs and my wonders in the land of Egypt.
And do what?
And multiply my signs and my wonders in the land of Egypt.
And the Most High says he's going to multiply his signs and his wonders in the land of Egypt. Go ahead.
Verse 4. But Pharaoh shall not hearken unto you.
But Pharaoh is not going to listen to you. Why? Because the Most High said he is going to harden Pharaoh's heart. Go ahead.
That I may lay my hand upon Egypt and bring forth my armies and my people.
Moses says he's going to lay 40 hands on Egypt, bring 40 armies and his people. You understand? The Moses says he's going to bring his people out of the land of Egypt, and not all the Egyptians or the Africans type with the nation of Israel. The Moses says he's going to bring his people out of the land of Egypt. Go ahead.
My people, the children of Israel, out of the land of Egypt by a great judgment.
By what?
By a great judgment.
And the Moses says he's going to bring his people, the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, the Lord's chosen, who he has separated. He says he's going to bring them out of the land of Egypt by great judgments. You understand? By great judgment, he says. So again, the Most High is not about hugs and kisses and for God so loved the world. The Most High says he's going to bring the children of Israel out of Egypt by great bondage. Go ahead. That is the end 7. Go ahead.
Verse 5. An Egyptian shall know that I am the Most High.
So you're going to see what these great judgments are. And the Most High is saying that the Egyptians, they're going to know. They're going to know what?
And the Egyptian shall know that I am the Most High.
The Egyptians is going to know who is the Most High. Go ahead.
When I stretch forth my hand upon Egypt and bring all the children of Israel from among them.
You understand? So they're going to know the power of the Most High. When he stretched forth his hands by the things he's doing, by the great judgments, and bring his people out of the land of Egypt, out from between these Africans. You understand? Go ahead.
And Moses and Aaron did as the Lord commanded them.
And they did what?
And Moses and Aaron did as the Lord commanded them.
Just like we were saying before, the things written aforetime are written for our learning. They did exactly what the Most High commanded them. And that is what we're supposed to be doing today, so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. We're supposed to be doing what the Most High commanded us. You understand? And we are commanded to keep the Most High's Passover and Feast of Unleavened Bread that we are supposed to do as a nation, as blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. You understand? And watch the destruction of our enemies. Because we were sold into the hands of our enemies. What's the destruction of them? You understand? That is the end of verse 7.
So did they.
That is the end, right?
Verse 7.
Go ahead, went to verse 7, Baba Kusha.
Verse 7. And Moses was 4 years old.
He was what?
4 years old.
4 years old would be 80. 80? Yeah. Yeah.
And Aaron 4
and
years
Aaron
old.
4 will be 83. You understand?
When they spoke unto Pharaoh.
You understand? So you're seeing Moses and the age of Moses and Aaron when they speak unto Pharaoh. And of course, when you watch back from what we just read, is seeing that Israel was under hard burden, they was under heavy bondage. You understand? And the Most High telling Moses to speak unto Pharaoh, to tell Pharaoh, hey, let my people go. Let them go and worship me 3 days in the wilderness, 3 days journey up in the wilderness. Pharaoh didn't want to do that. Pharaoh increased the burdens. You understand? And of course, the Most High say, he going to bring his people out of Egypt by hard bondage, by great judgment, sorry. You understand? And now we're going to see the judgments that Egypt faced by putting the Lord's people under heavy burdens, under rigor. Now you're going to see the things that the Most High does for his people once we obey him, once we keep his commandments, once we do like what our forefathers did. You understand? Listen to the voice of the Most High and do what he commands us. You understand? Give me Exodus chapter 7. You jump down to verse 19, Baba Kusha. You understand? Just like today, these other nations, they don't have no respect for so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. You understand? The same way of Pharaoh didn't have no respect for us, for the Lord's chosen. These other nations, they have no respect for blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. When you have it, you can read Baba Kusha. Right? So we're just going to skip through the plagues that the Most High sent on Egypt. If anybody new looking in, you're going to understand the power of the God that you serve. You understand? Or should be serving. Salakia. Go ahead.
Exodus chapter 7 verse 19. And the Lord spake unto Moses, say unto Aaron, take thy rod and stretch out thy hand upon the waters of Egypt, upon the streams.
You will stop to verse 25, right? 19 to 25.
Upon their streams, upon their rivers, and upon their ponds.
Right, so the Most High telling Moses, stretch forth your hand. The Most High going to demonstrate his power in the land of Egypt. But of course, he says he's going to harden Pharaoh's heart. Pharaoh is not going to listen to them. And he's going to see how these plagues are going to increase, even unto the last plague. All right, go ahead. And they're going to understand also too why the Most High had made Pharaoh's heart hard. Go ahead.
And upon all their pools of water, that they may become blood.
Right? So he's telling them, stretch forth your hands on the streams, the rivers, all the pools of waters that they're going to what? Become blood. Go ahead.
And that there may be blood throughout all the land of Egypt.
You understand? So that they're going to be blood throughout all the land of Egypt. Go ahead.
Both in vessels of wood and in vessels of stone.
Go ahead.
Verse 20. And Moses and Aaron did as the Most High commanded.
You understand? And when you watch the recurring theme here, you're going to see all that the Most High command Moses and Aaron to do, they did it. You understand? And the Most High never failed them when they did what the Most High commanded them to do. And this is what we have to understand, so-called black man, Hispanic man, Native Indian. Whatsoever the Most High command us to do, this is what we're supposed to do. As I always say, as we teach in time from class from time to time, you will know everything overnight. Can't know everything overnight. You understand? But you deciding to serve the Most High and change around your ways, or stop doing the things that you used to do in the world and come into the I.S.U.P.K under commanding GEN.YAHANNA and start learning, you're going to do what? Start changing. You're going to listen and start obeying the things that the Most High tell you to do. And then when you start doing that, you're going to realize the things of this world is just rubbish. It's just foolishness. You understand? Go ahead.
And he lifted up the rod.
And he did what?
And he lifted up the rod and smote the waters.
So he lifted up the rod, smote the waters
that were in the river, in the sight of Pharaoh, and in the sight of his servants.
Go ahead.
And all the waters that were in the rivers were turned to blood.
And all the waters that was in the rivers, it turned to blood. You understand? The rivers, the streams. Go ahead.
Verse 21. And the fish that was in the rivers died, and the river stank.
Understand? So all the fish that was in the rivers, it died, and the rivers did what? It stank. You understand? Because of course it wasn't water no more. You understand? everything turned into blood. Go ahead.
And the Egyptians could not drink of the water of the river.
And the what?
And the Egyptians could not drink of the water of the river.
You understand? And no Egyptian could not drink of the water in the rivers. Again, because it was of blood. Go ahead.
And there was blood throughout all the land of Egypt.
All throughout the land of Egypt, there was blood. Go ahead. If I reach? Yeah, go ahead. We're going up to 25, Baba Kusha.
Yeah. And the magicians of Egypt did so with their enchantment.
You understand? And of course, the magicians of Egypt, you understand? Because remember, Aaron and Moses, they are of the Hebrews, but the magicians of Egypt, they did so. So they did the same thing that Moses and Aaron did. You understand? And rivers turned into blood, streams turned into blood too. Because Pharaoh demonstrating his power by his magicians. You understand? But the Most High's power is through Aaron and Moses. Go ahead.
And Pharaoh's heart was hardened.
And Pharaoh's heart was hardened. Go ahead.
Neither did he hearken unto them, as the Lord had said.
Again, 25.
Go
ahead.
Verse 23. And Pharaoh turned and went into his house. Neither did he set his heart to this also. Verse 24. And all the Egyptians dig round about the river for water to
all
drink.
Egyptians, they started to dig for water to drink all around the rivers. Go ahead.
For they could not drink of the water of the river.
And they had no water for the Egyptians to drink. Where the verse 25, Baba Kusha?
Verse 25. And the 7 days were fulfilled after the Lord had smitten the river.
You understand? And 7 days were fulfilled after the Most High had smitten the river. Give me the verse of, Exodus 8. You're going right down to 8 there. Give me 1 and 2, Baba Kusha. So the first plague was blood, smitten in all the rivers. No Egyptians didn't have water. You understand? The place. Yeah, you understand? They didn't have water. Of course, the place stank because all the fishes in the rivers and died. So the place was in a mess. First plague. Go ahead.
Exodus chapter 8 and verse 1. And the Lord spake unto Moses, Go unto the Pharaoh and say unto him, Thus say the Most High, let my people go. So
the Lord tell Pharaoh, tell Moses, go up to Pharaoh again, tell him, let my people go. Go ahead.
That they may serve me.
That they may do what?
That they may serve me.
And if you notice, all the Most High want is just for his people to serve him. You understand? Go ahead.
Verse 2. And if thou refuse to let them go, behold, I will smite all thy borders with frogs.
You understand? So he said that he's going to smite all the borders with frogs if you didn't let the people go. Jump to verse 5, Baba Kusha. So we're skipping through the plagues. We're going up to the last plague. We're going to understand what the Most High did. Right? Go ahead.
Verse 5. And the Lord spake unto Moses, say unto Aaron, Stretch forth thy hand with thy rod over the streams, over the rivers, and over the ponds, and cause frogs to come up upon the land of Egypt.
You understand? So you see, stretch forth your hand over the stream, rivers, cause frogs to come up. Go ahead.
Verse 6. Verse 3. And the river shall bring forth frogs abundantly, which shall go up.
No, you're jumping to verse 5, Baba Kusha.
Verse 5.
Yeah.
Right.
Verse 5 to 7.
Right.
Yeah, no, sir.
And the Lord spake unto Moses, say unto Aaron, stretch forth thy hand.
Stretch forth your hand over the rivers, the streams. Go ahead.
With thy rod over the streams, over the river, and over the ponds.
Go ahead.
And cause the frogs to come up upon the land of Egypt.
You understand? And cause the frogs to come up upon the land of Egypt. You understand? Go ahead.
And Aaron stretched out his hand over the waters of Egypt, and the frogs came up and covered the land of Egypt.
You understand? So he stretched forth the hands, he did what the Most High command. Stretched forth the hands, frogs come up on the land of Egypt. Go ahead.
And the magicians did so with
and the who?
And the magicians
and the magicians of Egypt, you understand? Those who was ruling and rocking with Pharaoh, they did so. Go ahead.
And the magicians did so with their enchantment. and brought up frogs upon the land of Egypt.
You understand? So the magicians, Pharaoh's people did the same thing, and they brought up frogs too also. You understand? Go ahead. I'm sorry, jump to verse 12.
Verse 12. And Moses and Aaron went out from Pharaoh, and Moses cried unto the Most High because of the frogs which he had brought against Pharaoh. Verse 13. And the Most High did according to the word of Moses, and the frogs died out of the houses, out of the villages, and out of the fields.
Right, so there were frogs in the houses, in the villages, and in the fields. You understand? Moses cried to the Most High because, of course, Pharaoh couldn't take it. Pharaoh said, "Nah, cry to see that, or let's stop that. Let the Lord stop that. Cry to your power, and let take away the frogs." So all the frogs died. Houses, you understand? In the villages and in the fields. Go ahead.
Verse 14. And they gathered them together upon heaps, and the land stank.
You understand? And they gathered all the frogs together on heaps. So it wasn't a few frogs, but heaps of frogs, and the land stank. It don't stank off a fish already from the rivers and in the streams. No frogs come on the sea, the land stank same way. You understand? That is second plague, right? Give me verse 16, Baba Kusha.
Verse 16. And the Lord said unto Moses, say unto Aaron, stretch out thy rod, and smite the dust of the land.
You understand? So he says, stretch out your rod, smite the dust of the land. Go ahead.
That it may become lice throughout all the land of Egypt.
That it may become lice throughout the land of Egypt. Go ahead.
Verse 17. And they did so. For Aaron stretched out his hand with his rod.
You understand? So they did so. Aaron, following the Most High orders again, stretch out the hand. Boom. Lice. Go ahead.
And they smote the dust of the earth. And it became lice in man and in beasts, and all the dust of the land became lice throughout all the land of Egypt.
You understand? So throughout all the land of Egypt, the lice in beasts, on man, throughout all the land of Egypt had lice. Sorry. That's the third plague. Go ahead to verse 18, Baba Kusha.
Verse 18, and the magicians did so with their enchantment to bring forth lice.
Right? So the magicians now of Egypt, you understand, they bring forth, they made the rivers and streams turn blood. They made frogs come up as well too. You understand? So Moses and Aaron, they decide the Most High, the fallen Most High orders, smite the ground, lice come, take man, beast, throughout the whole land of Egypt there were lice. And the magicians of Egypt decide they're going to do the same thing too. You understand? So they tried with their enchantment to bring forth lice. Go ahead.
Verse 19. Then the magician said unto Pharaoh.
No, infinite verse 18.
Oh, it's this one. But they could not.
But they what?
But they could not.
But they what?
But they could not.
You understand? So the Egyptians, magicians, they tried bringing up lice, but they could not. You understand? And now we're going to see that the Egyptians, they also started to realize that there was a power greater than them. They tried bringing up lice, they couldn't bring up no lice. Go ahead.
So there were lice upon men and upon beasts.
So there was lice upon man and upon beasts. Go ahead.
Verse 19. Then the magician said unto Pharaoh.
Go ahead.
This is the finger of the Most High.
Then the magicians turned to Pharaoh and said, Pharaoh, watch. We try bringing up lice in it. We try the blood, it worked. We try the frog, it worked. We try bringing up lice. You understand? But that's not happening. You see this here? This is madness. This power is from the Most High. You understand? This power is from the power that the Hebrews serve. Go ahead.
And Pharaoh's heart was hardened, and he hearkened not unto them.
You understand? So his heart was hardened. He didn't hearken to them. Jump to verse 20. Because, of course, Most High said that he's going to what? Make Pharaoh's heart hard. We're going to see why the Most High make Pharaoh's heart hard as we're going through the story, right? So we're going again to verse 20, Baba Kusha, the fourth plague.
Verse 20. And the Lord said unto Moses, rise up early in the morning and stand before Pharaoh. Lo, he cometh forth to the water, and say unto him, thus saith the Most High, let the people go.
Let the what?
Let the people go.
Let the people go. Go ahead.
That they may serve me.
That is what the Most High asking for right too. So 3 plagues going already. The Lord is asking for the children of Israel to go forth and serve him. Go ahead.
Else, if thou wilt not let the people go, behold, I will send swarms of flies upon thee.
I will do what?
Send swarms of flies upon thee.
Next plague, swarms of fly. You understand? Go ahead.
And upon thy servants, and upon thy people, and into thy houses, and the houses of the Egyptians shall be full of swarms of flies,
Right.
and also the ground whereon they are.
Go ahead.
Verse 22. And I will sever in that day the land of Goshen, in which my people dwell.
You understand? So the Most High say, you will sever in that day the land of Goshen, where his people dwell, because of course the Israelites dwell in the land of Goshen. So the Most High now going and separate the Hebrews, the Israelites, from the Egyptians. You understand? So the plagues that taken the Egyptians, it would not be affecting the Israelites. Go ahead.
That no swamp of flies shall be there to the end thou mayest know that I am the Most High in the midst of the earth.
So now, once you see, and Egypt and Goshen was close by, you understand? So now you're going to see plagues taking Egypt right here. And when I watch over in the land of Goshen, nothing happening. Everybody moving about the merry business. You understand? Go ahead.
Verse 23. And I will put a division between my people and thy people. Tomorrow shall this sign be.
You understand? You say you're going to put a division between his people, you understand, and thy people. Letting you know there are two different people that was in the land of Egypt. Go ahead.
Verse 24. And the Lord did so, and there came a grievous swarm of flies into the house of Pharaoh, and into the servants' houses, and into all the land of Egypt. The land was corrupted by reason of the swarm of flies.
You understand? So flies take over Egypt. Go ahead.
Verse 25. And Pharaoh called for Moses and for Aaron, and said, Go you sacrifice to your power in the land.
You understand? And when Pharaoh see that, Pharaoh say, nah, you see that? All they what? All they go sacrifice to all the God in the land. You understand? Go ahead.
Verse 26. And Moses said, It is not meet so to do, for we shall sacrifice the abomination of the Egyptians.
You understand? And Moses said, that watch, it is not meat, meaning it is not good so to do. For we will sacrifice the abomination of the Egyptians to the Lord our power. You understand? Pharaoh just say, well, go in the land. You understand? And serve all your power. He didn't say, well, all right, go out of the land, go wherever all they want to go in the wilderness, it's 3 days journey. Moses is telling them we can't do that. Go ahead.
Lo, shall we sacrifice the abomination of the Egyptians before their eyes, and will they not stone us?
You understand? Because if we do that, the Egyptians will not get vexed. They're going and stone us. Go ahead.
Verse 27. We will go 3 days journey into the wilderness.
We will go 3 days journey. Because that was what I was initially asking for. To go 3 days journey into the wilderness. Go ahead.
And sacrifice to the Most High our power.
You understand? And sacrifice to the Most High our power. Go ahead.
As he shall command us. Verse 28. And Pharaoh said, I will let you go, that you may sacrifice to the Most High your power in the wilderness. Only you shall not go very far away.
You understand? So Pharaoh said, all you go 3 days, all you could go in the wilderness to sacrifice to all your power, but all you don't go too far. You understand? That is to tell you the mindset that Pharaoh had. Pharaoh wanted to just keep the nation of Israel, children Israel in bondage. Well, they could go in, but don't go too far. Go ahead.
Entreat for me. Verse 29. And Moses said, Behold, I go out from thee, and I will entreat the Most High that the swarm of flies may depart from Pharaoh.
You understand? So you say, all right, but when you go, you will entreat the Most High, and the swarm of flies will depart from Pharaoh. Give me chapter 9 and verse 2, Baba Pusha. You understand? Because again, every time a plague take, Pharaoh saying he will let them go, then he change his mind. You understand? And then Moses will entreat the Most High. Everything will stop, and Pharaoh's heart will just keep getting more hard and more hard. You understand? Go ahead.
For if thou refuse to let them go, I will hold them still.
Like 9? Give me chapter 9 and verse 2, Baba Pusha.
Yeah.
Right, go ahead. My bad, Slack here.
For Exodus chapter 9 and verse 2. For if thou refuse to let them go.
You understand? So Moses going to Pharaoh again, tell him, let my people go. And he's saying, if you refuse to let them go ahead,
I will hold them still.
And still hold them.
Verse 3. Behold, the hand of the Most High is upon thy cattle.
You understand? So you say, if you let them go, now upon your cattle, go ahead.
Which is in the field, upon the horses,
right?
Upon the asses, upon the camels, upon the oxen, and upon the sheep, there shall be a very grievous murrain.
You understand? So upon all the animals in the field, the cattle, the horses, the camels, the sheep, they're going to be a grievous murrain. You understand? That is like boils or sores. When they say murrain, you understand? Go ahead.
Verse 4. And the Lord shall sever between the cattle of Israel.
Separate the cattle of Israel.
And the cattle of Egypt.
And the cattle of the Egyptians.
And there shall nothing die of all that is in the children of Israel.
You understand? And all the cattle that is in the children of Israel, nothing is going to die. Go ahead.
Verse 5. And the Lord appointed a set time, saying, tomorrow the Lord shall do this thing in the land.
You understand? He set an appointed time. He said, tomorrow, this is what's going to happen. Cattle of Egypt is going to die. You understand? But against the children of Israel, they're going to have their flocks as normal. Nothing is going to happen to their cattle, their animals in the field. Go ahead.
Verse 6. And the Lord did that thing on the morrow.
Right.
And all the cattle of Egypt died.
You understand? So next day, whatever the Lord said was going to happen, it happened. All the cattle of Egypt died. Go ahead.
But of the cattle of the children of Israel died not one.
You understand? The cattle of the children of Israel, none died. Not one. You understand? Go ahead.
Verse 7. And Pharaoh sent, and behold, there was not one of the cattle of the Israelites dead. And the heart of Pharaoh was hardened, and he did not let the people go.
You understand? And again, the heart of Pharaoh was hardened, and he didn't let the people go. You understand? That is in 7. Give me verse 8, Babu Kusha.
Verse 8. And the Lord said unto Moses and unto Aaron, take to you handfuls of ashes of the furnace, and let Moses sprinkle it towards the heaven.
You understand? So he said, take handfuls of ashes, go ahead, sprinkle it to the heavens.
In the sight of Pharaoh. Verse 9. And it shall become small dust in all the land of Egypt, and shall be a oil breaking forth with beings upon man and upon beasts throughout all the land of Egypt.
You understand? Plague of boils, you understand? Breaking out on man throughout all the land of Egypt. Go ahead.
Verse 10. And they took ashes of the furnace and stood before Pharaoh, and Moses sprinkled it up towards the heaven, and it became a boil breaking forth with plains upon man and upon beasts.
You understand? So upon man and upon beasts, plague of boils. Go ahead.
Verse 11. And the magician could not stand before Moses because of the boils, for the boil was upon the magicians and upon all the Egyptians.
You understand? And the magicians of Egypt, about the third plague, they could not make. You understand? They started beg Pharaoh and let Pharaoh know, hey, see this what happening here? This is of the Most High. You understand? Go ahead. That's in 11. Okay. Give me verse 13.
Verse 13. And the Most High said unto Moses, rise up early in the morning and stand before Pharaoh and say unto him, thus saith the most high power of the Hebrews, let my people go, that they may serve me.
Go ahead. Jump down to verse 18.
Verse 18. Behold, tomorrow about this time I will cause it to rain a very grievous hail, such as had not been in Egypt.
You understand? So tomorrow about this time, hail, nothing ever see like that in Egypt before. Go ahead.
Since the foundation thereof, even until now.
Right.
Verse 19.
Yeah, go to 19, Papa Kusha.
Verse 19. Send therefore now and gather thy cattle and all that thou hast in the field, for upon every man and beast which shall be found in the field and shall not be brought home, the hail shall come down upon them and they shall die.
Right, so he says, send forth for your cattle, all that have in the field, or there is hail coming and everything going to die. It is the plague of hail. You understand? Go ahead.
Verse 20.
Go to 23, Baba Kusha.
Verse 23. And Moses stretched forth his rod towards the heaven, and the Moses sent thunder and hail, and fire ran along upon the ground, and the Moses rained hail upon the land of Egypt. Verse 24. So there was a hail and fire mingled with hail.
You understand? So there was hail and fire mingled with hail. We all know what hail is. It's like rain, but it coming in big sizes and all different sizes. You understand? And that now mingled with fire beat through the land of Egypt. You understand? The Moses says such that never happened in the land before. You understand? To never see something like that before. Go ahead. That's in
Exodus chapter 29 verse 24. So there was hail and fire mingled with the hail.
Right.
Very grievous, such as there was none like it in all the land of Egypt, since it became a nation.
You understand? Nothing like that ever happened in the land of Egypt since it became a nation. Go ahead.
Verse 25. And the hail smote throughout all the land of Egypt, all that was in the field.
So all that remain in the field, who didn't want to listen, who didn't want to obey, they get smite. Go ahead.
Both man and beast.
Man and beast, man and animal.
And the hail smote every herb of the field, and break every tree of the field.
You understand? So every herb of the field and every tree, it gets smitten by the hail. You understand? It was destroyed. Isaiah 26. Right? No, go ahead. Give me verse 26, Baba Kusha. Yeah, give me verse 26.
26, verse 26. Only in the land of Goshen, where the children of Israel was, there no hail.
You understand? So only where the children of Israel were in the land of Goshen, they didn't have no hail. You understand? Moses here is going to separate the land of Goshen, separate the children of Israel, and the plagues that attacked Egypt wasn't going to happen to his people, to his chosen people, the people that he had separated to be his. You understand? Give me verse chapter 10 and verse 1 to 2.
Exodus chapter 10 and verse 1. And the Moses said unto Moses, go in unto Pharaoh, for I have hardened his heart.
Right, so he's telling Pharaoh, Moses, go unto Pharaoh. I is the one who have hardened his heart, hardened his mind. Go ahead.
And the heart of his servants.
And the mind of his servants. Go ahead.
That I may show thee my signs before him.
You understand that he's going to show you his signs before him. He's the one who caused Pharaoh's heart to be hard. You understand? And his servant's heart. Go ahead.
Verse 2. And that thou mayest tell in the ears of thy son.
And you're supposed to tell it in the ears of your sons. Go ahead.
And of thy son's sons.
And of your son's sons. Go ahead.
What thing I have brought in Egypt.
And this is what we're supposed to do. Tell it to our children. The things that the Mosai did in the land of Egypt. Go ahead.
And my signs.
And his signs.
Which I have done among them.
And the things that you have done among the Egyptians. Go ahead.
That you may know how that I am the Most High.
And when you see what the Most High have done, the hail, the boils, the plagues, frogs, the flies, you understand the things that he have done to Egyptians, and he separated people from the land of Goshen, separate his people. These are the things that we're supposed to tell our generation, tell our sons and our sons' sons, that they will know who's the Most High. They will know his wrath, his judgment, his power. Go ahead. That is in 2. Give me verse 7.
Exodus chapter 10 and verse 7. And Pharaoh's servants said unto him, how long shall this man be a snare unto us?
You understand? And Pharaoh's servants, people of Egypt, you understand, said, how long Moses is going to be a snare upon us? How long these plagues going to overtake us? You understand? How long these things going to keep happening to us? but they don't know that the Most High power. You understand? You have hardened Pharaoh's heart. They don't know that the Most High doing all these things. Go ahead.
Let the men go.
You understand? So that his servants is saying, Dan, watch, let them fellas go. Let them men go. After all these things I see happening, let them go, Jed. Go ahead.
That they may serve the Most High in their power.
That they may serve their power. You understand? So Pharaoh's servant saying, watch, let them go, let them do what they have to do, get them out of here, let them serve their God, let them serve their power. Go ahead.
Knoweth thou that yet that Egypt is destroyed.
You understand? Hebrews 7, right?
Thank
You understand? So he's saying, no, it's no, not yet that Egypt is destroyed. So he's saying, so Pharaoh, you ain't watching and seeing that Egypt destroyed. You understand? You ain't seeing what's going on. Leave them, let them go and serve the God. You understand? And we as a people, we have to understand this is the things that the Most High is going to do. You understand? When these other nations keep oppressing us or keep trying to put us in hard bondage. You understand? When they keep having their necks upon us, look at what happened to America, Babylon the Great. You understand? Don't prophesy to fall. Look at what happening. You understand? Even if the Most High had to make volcanoes to blow in St. Vincent to get his people out of there from whatever hard bondages that they might be in, coronavirus drop, so that his people could get rest. You understand? From having the foot 24/7 in the plantation and slaves. These are the things that the Most High going to make happen, so that his people will go. His people will come out of that bondage that they're under. Give me verse 13, Baba Kusha.
Verse 13. And Moses stretched forth his rod over the land of Egypt, and the Lord brought an east wind upon the land all that day and all that night. And when it was morning, the east wind brought the locusts.
You understand? So whole night, whole evening and whole night, they get an east wind. You understand? Because of course Pharaoh had hardened after the hail. Still they want to let the people go. You understand? Moses listened to the word of the Most High, stretch forth the hands, east wind come. Whole evening, whole night. And as the morning break, go ahead.
The east wind brought the locusts.
The east wind bringing the locusts. So locusts start swarming in. Go ahead.
Verse 14. And the locusts went up over all the land of Egypt and rested in all the coasts of Egypt.
You understand? So it went up all over the land of Egypt, all on the coast. Go ahead.
Very grievous were they before.
You understand? Very grievous were they. You understand? So these locusts were very grievous. You see what? You see, we get a demonstration of what happened with the locusts when they came across here from to Trinidad. You understand? And how it destroyed the crops of the farmers. How big there was. There was no grasshopper. You understand? Locusts. You see the destruction that they did. So you know what happened in the land of Egypt. Whole night, whole evening, and whole night breeze just blowing, bringing in the locusts. You understand? Go ahead.
Before them, there were no such locusts as they.
You understand? So before them, there was no, they never see locusts like that before. Go ahead.
Neither have them shall be such.
You understand? And when that time passed in Egypt, you never see locusts like that again. That land know is the Most High. You understand? Go ahead.
Verse 15. For they covered the face of the whole earth, so that the land was darkened.
Land was darkened. Just imagine, locusts swarm the place so much that the whole place get dark. You understand? And that's not impossible, because look what happened. The volcano blew in St. Vincent. You understand? And ash flies so much in the air, so much that the whole place get dark. 2 o'clock in the evening looking like 8:30, minutes to 9. You understand? They take over the place. Go ahead.
And they did eat every herb of the land.
And they eat everything. Go ahead.
And all the fruits of the trees which the hail had left.
You understand? So wherever the hail didn't destroy, the locusts come and take everything. Go ahead.
And there remains not any green thing in the tree or in the herbs of the field throughout all the land of Egypt.
Go ahead.
Verse 16. Then Pharaoh called for Moses and Aaron in haste And he said, I have sinned against the Most High, your power, and against you. Verse 17.
No, that is verse 6. They're not verse 16. All right, drop that. And give me verse 22. Baba Kusha. Just drop down to verse 22. Yeah. 10 and 22.
Exodus chapter 10 and verse 22. And Moses stretched forth his hand and towards the heaven, and there was a thick darkness in all the land of Egypt.
You understand? So now a thick darkness all over the land of Egypt for 3 days, because of course Moses still refused to listen. You understand? I mean Moses, Salakia, Pharaoh still refused to listen. He wanted to do his own thing. You understand? Go ahead.
Verse 23. They saw not one another, neither arose any from his place.
And Fuzzy place so black, they couldn't even see one another. And nobody never even moved from which part it was. They didn't arise from their place. Go ahead.
Neither arose any from his place for 3 days.
For 3 days, you understand? Because of course the place was in total blackness for 3 days. Go ahead.
But all the children of Israel had light in their dwellings.
You understand? But I wonder what over in the land of Goshen, children of Israel, they had light. They functioning. Go ahead.
Verse 24. And Pharaoh called unto Moses and said, Go you serve the Most High. Only let your flock and your herd be stayed. Let your little ones also go with you.
You understand? So Pharaoh saying, watch, well, go and serve the Most High, but leave your flocks and the little ones. You understand? So still, Pharaoh didn't want to leave the people of the children of Israel to go forth and serve the Most High. You understand? Give me Exodus 11 and 1, Baba Kusha. You understand? That was the 9th plague, the plague of darkness. You understand? Now we go into the final plague. We're going to see what the final plague is and why the Most High hardened Pharaoh's heart and the things that the Most High did to redeem his people, to bring his people out of the hands of the Egyptians. You understand? Go ahead.
Exodus chapter 11 verse 1. And the Lord said unto Moses, Yet will I bring one plague more upon Pharaoh.
You understand? So the Lord say, going to bring one more plague unto Pharaoh. Go ahead.
And upon Egypt. Afterwards he will let you go. Hence, when he shall let you go, he shall surely trust you out hence altogether.
Right.
Verse 2. Speak now in the ears of the people, and let every man borrow of his neighbor, and every woman of her neighbor, jewels of silver and jewels of gold.
You understand? So now we're going to borrow jewels of silver, jewels of gold. Go ahead.
Verse 3. And the Lord gave the people favor in the sight of the Egyptians. Moreover, the man Moses was very great in the land of Egypt, in the sight of Pharaoh's servants, and in the sight of the people. Verse 4. And Moses said, Thus saith the Most High, about midnight will I go out into the midst of Egypt. Verse 5. And all the firstborn in the land of Egypt shall die.
You understand? So Moses is saying, at midnight, going to go out. You understand? The Lord is going to go out in the midst of Egypt, and every firstborn is going to die. You understand? Go ahead.
Of Pharaoh that sitteth upon his throne.
So the firstborn of Pharaoh is going to die.
Even unto the firstborn of the maid servants.
Firstborn of the maid servants.
That is behind the mill. And all the firstborn of beasts.
All the firstborn of beasts. Go ahead.
Verse 6. And there shall be a great cry throughout all the land of Egypt, such as there was none like it, nor shall be like it anymore.
You understand? So now, death is going to take all firstborn. Firstborn of maid servants. You understand? Firstborn of the beasts, all the cattle, all the sheep, everything. Death is going to take place. You understand? Give me Exodus 12 and 28, Baba Kusha. You understand? This is the last plague, and the Most High is going to make it known in Egypt, his power. You understand? By the hand of Moses and Aaron. Give me verse 28 and from chapter 12 of Kusha.
Exodus chapter 12 and verse 28. And the children of Israel went away and did as the Lord had commanded Moses and Aaron. So did they. Verse 29. And it came to pass that at midnight the Lord, the Most High, smote all the firstborn in the land of Egypt.
You understand? So again, the children of Israel went away, and the Most High commanded Moses and Aaron, whatever he tell them to do, that's what to do. And when midnight reached, boom, all the firstborn in the land of Egypt. Go ahead.
From the firstborn of Pharaoh.
Firstborn of Pharaoh.
That sat on his throne. Unto the firstborn of the captives.
Go ahead.
That was in the dungeon. And all the firstborn of cattle.
You understand? So all firstborn was dead. From cattle to Pharaoh, everybody. Everybody wants to have firstborn in Egypt, everything was dead. Go ahead.
Verse 30. And Pharaoh rose up in the night. He and all his servants and all the Egyptians. And there was a great cry in Egypt. For there was not a house where there was not one dead.
You understand? And there was a great cry in Egypt. Of course, there wasn't a house that was in the land of Egypt where there wasn't one dead. You understand? The Most High passed through, smite all the firstborn. Go ahead.
Verse 31. And he called for Moses and Aaron by night and said, Rise up and get you forth from among my people, both you and the children of Israel, and go serve the Most High as you have said.
You tell them, watch, that is it. All you go and serve the Most High, just like you was telling me. Go ahead.
Verse 32. Also take your flocks and your herd, as you have said, and be gone, and bless me also.
Take your flocks, your herd. Go ahead.
Verse 33. And the Egyptians were urgent upon the people that they might send them out of the land in haste.
And they're trying to get them out from the as quick as possible.
For they said, We be all dead men. Verse 34. And the people took their dough before it was leavened, their kneeling trough.
They need in trough. You understand? The people take their dough before it was leavened, and they need in trough because, of course, they had to take everything quick to get out of the land of Egypt. You understand?
Being bound up in their clothes upon their shoulders. Verse 35. And the children of Israel did according to the word of Moses, and they borrowed of the Egyptians jewels of silver and jewels of gold and raiments. Verse 36. And the Most High gave the people favor in the sight of the Egyptians, so that they lent unto them such things as they required, and they spoiled the Egyptians. Verse 37. And the children of Israel journeyed from Ramsey to Succoth, about 600,000 on foot, that were men besides children. Verse 38. And a mixed multitude went up also with them, and flocks and herds, even very much scattered.
What verse is it?
Verse 37 and 38 and all.
All right, we'll drop that, right? Okay, watching the time up on video already, right? So what we gotta do, we will continue next week. Next week, plays the Most High. You understand? We're going to continue where we left off, right? Again, so-called black man, Hispanic man, Native Indian woman, child. You understand? You are part of the 12 lost tribes of the nation of Israel. You understand? We're going to continue the class next week. We're going to again continue from the Passover into the Feast of Unleavened Bread. You understand? You've seen Israel where the Most High sent out 10 plagues to the nation of in Egypt for Pharaoh, and literally destroyed Egypt, so that Pharaoh will let go his people, will let his people go to serve him. You understand? And this is the thing that the Most High is going to do for us, so-called black man, Hispanic man, and Native Indian man, once we decide to serve the Most High. Of course, America is going to be destroyed by the hands of the Most High, But we have to come back, as we read from earlier before, get ourselves together, get ourselves to come back knowing who we are, understand what we're supposed to do, and how we're supposed to serve the Most High, right? And with that, I'm going to pass the class over to Preacher and Officer Shah, and we're going to continue next week. Most High is willing.
Security announcement. Let the I.S.U.P.K out of 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under command in Gen.YAHANNA. New rules for brothers and sisters. When a new brother or sister comes in the school, they are off limits for 6 months. They are here to be saluted only. They are here to shed themselves off the world. After 6 months, if a brother or sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to another brother or sister. There is another 6 months which a brother or sister will court each other. After the 6 month period, the brother or sister will get permission from the head to marry. Tithes, which is a commandment, you can find it in Numbers chapter 18, verse 21, and Malachi chapter 3, verse 8 to 10. Means 10 in Hebrew, as found as my share, 10% of every penny and increase the Most High gives you a treasury department or teacher priest fund, fuel offering for priests, non-mandatory, whatever amount you would like to give. Upcoming Holy Convocation, reminder. Upcoming Holy Convocation, that will be the Passover, the 14th day of the first month. That will be Saturday, April the 24th, 2021. You can find this in Exodus chapter 12, verse 1 to... You can find this in Exodus chapter 12, 1 to 51, verse 1 to 51, Leviticus chapter 23, verse 4 to 5, 1 Corinthians chapter 5, verse 7 to 8, and 2 Chronicles chapter 30, verse 17. Reminder, if you have done that, watch to check on social media such as I.S.U.P.K, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and so on for I.S.U.P.K events and material. If your brother wants to be a trooper in the school, then he just start wearing all black, which include black boots, light shirt, light pants, light headband, or scarf. That is say, madam. Family after them. We're going to say Lord's Prayer in Hebrew. Abanoah, Sebastian Maya, Kodash, Ayah, Shamka, Yahweh, Lakoka, Ma'a, Adazaka, Ayah, Aisha, Arataza, Kawa, Ayah, Bashmaya, Datan, Nanawa, Nakam, Kal, Yawam, Wasalaknoa, Kawakinoa, Kasalaknoa, Kawakinoa, Wala, Tabianoa, Basawan, Abal, Oshaino, Mayan, Rai, Kaya, Laka, Malakwa, Ala, Tapara, Ryanomia, Aman.
What we just said in English. Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Yahweh, thy kingdom come, thy will be done, in earth, as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we forgive our debtors. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever. So be it.
We're going to say a blessing in Hebrew. Barak,
Atah,
Yahweh,
Yahushai,
Wamakala, Walaya, Matazabia, Alawapia, Asaranya, Akwat Zalianiam, Akwat Yaliam, Watwatiam, Yahweh, Basham, Oshai, Tawaraman.
What we just said in English. Bless you, Yahweh, and Yahushai, and Michael, and the angel, commanding general, the general, the captain, the officer, the trooper, and the sister, Yahweh, the name of Yahushai. Thank you. So be it.
Let's say Hakat, Yahweh, Basham, Oshai,
Atanawa,
Akat, Apa, Kamakala,
Kamakala,
Kamalawal,
Kamalawal,
Akak,
Akak,
Lata,
Taha,
Amatazaria,
Tazaria,
Akak,
Akak,
Lakoyam,
Hakoyam,
Amatayam,
Amateo,
Akak,
Akak,
Akawat,
Alakwa,
Atamala,
Tamal,
Lagarashem,
Shem,
Rasham,
Shem,
Oshai,
Shai,
Tawalawan.
Walaman. What we just said in the English, Yahweh,
Yahweh,
the name of
name
Yahushua,
of Yahushua.
please give us the power,
Give us
the power to heal, all manner of sickness, and all manner of disease, the power to cleanse the leper, the power to raise the dead, the power against unclean spirits, to cast them out. Name of Yahushua. Thank you. So be it. What we're going to say is the prayer of the curses. Blessed are you, Yahweh, King of heaven and earth, and all things living. Yahweh, the name of Yahushua. Listen to us now, right now. Send evils and curses and punishment and destruction to the heathen that speak against us, like prophets, the teachers, the princes, the priests, the Israelite brothers, and the school. Send evils and curses and punishment and destruction to the heathen, and shake loose the treasure of the rich of Israel that refuse to give to the school. Cause their riches, then into thy sanctuary. Send evils and curses and punishment and destruction to the Edomites and the nation and their drug dealers, the court system, the prison system, Planned Parenthood, all the governments of our enemies, Amalek synagogues and armies, Roman Catholic Church, the Pope, Islam, Christianity, Egyptology, militia, Ku Klux Klan, Aryan Nation, skinheads, Quasi-Comitazi, gay movement, lesbian movement, spies, workers of witchcraft, NASA space program, the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marine, Wall Street, open up the internet and the airwaves, cable access channels, and the radio channels. Convict the spirit of any of the people that seek to stop us and bring swift destruction to all the heathen that stand in the way and try to stop us from broadcasting your words throughout the planet Earth. Let loose all the plagues, cause them to go to and fro to the earth and consume them. Let the plague shake out of the thief and the murderer. Let Yahushua, Michael, and Gabriel come down with the flying saucers and punish all the heathen that come up against us as you speak thy word. Cause it to be known by all. That is the angels that have done it. Cause it to be spread to the media, throughout the whole world. Cause them to shake at thy coming. In the name of Yahushua. Thank you always. So be it.
We will say a blessed Israel, Yahweh,
Hashem, Yahushai, Rakanawa, SHALAM, Abaya, Saparium, Barak, Rapa, Magan, Commanding General the General, Captains, Officers, Troopers, Sisters, Children, all the destroyed of Israel, all brothers and sisters fighting coming to the truth. Kayalona, Baraknapash, Shariah, Kintian family, Oslan family, Ikoto family, Philip family, Fletcher family.
All the brothers and sisters in I.S.U.P.K.
All the brothers and sisters in I.S.U.P.K.
All brothers and sisters fighting coming to the truth.
All brothers and sisters fighting coming to the truth. Children and babies in I.S.U.P.K. Zion, Wesleyan, Daniela, Jamelia, Francois family, Brown family, Ashida, Trisha, Chantel, Mayelen, Nima, Khadija, Bashem, Oshai, Wadaman. What we just said in English. Lord, the name of Yahushua, bless us and Israel and the school. Bless, heal, shield, protect our loved ones. The name of Yahushua. Thank you. So be it.
Sir, let's get teacher one quick to imagine Shabbat. Imagine, Barak, Yahweh Shemel Shai
How about Shemel Shai Qatar?
Yadimata, Sir. Let's get sisters and man one quick imagine Shabbat. Imagine, Barak, Yahweh Shemel Shai Mata, Assistance.